Hello and welcome to this look at Hong Kong racing coming up again on Sunday, a big card coming up, one of the feature cards of the season. As we get towards the end of the Hong Kong season, we've still got a few months left, but it is really winding up towards the business end of the season there in Hong Kong, at least as far as the big horses are concerned. As I welcome in Graham Cunningham. Graham, this meeting really serves as the lead up to what is Hong Kong's second big international meeting in late April.
Yep. Hello, Andrew. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Exactly that. It's a springboard weekend, but they are very significant races in their own right. We're going to talk about four races. The two key springboards to Champions Day, FWD Champions Day, are the Spring Cup, Group 2 race, a lot of money on offer. Likewise in the Chairman's Trophy. And you look back over the Roll of Honour, and they have some pretty illustrious names on the roll card for both these races.
Most certainly, and that's definitely the case for the first of them that we're going to look at now. When we are filming this, which is Thursday morning UK time, there are no declarations out. They've been pushed back to Friday because there is a Happy Valley meeting taking place on Thursday. So we're doing this without draws, but I think for these two big features, they're less likely to be of much significance. The first is the Sprint Cup. Now, this is a Group 2 over the 1,200 metres or the 6 furlongs. Only one horse has gone back-to-back. That was Sacred Kingdom in 2008. 2009. Wellington looking to try and do that this year, but he comes up against his last start's conqueror, Lucky Swayness, who couldn't have been much more impressive in winning that Battle of the Titans in the Queen Silver Jubilee Cup, Graham.
Yeah, Wellington, as you know, Andrew, is Hong Kong's champion sprinter. The crown is hanging pretty loosely on Wellington's head at the moment because there is a new kid in town. It's Lucky Swayness. His progress has been relentless for over a year now. He's 10 from 14. He was a hot favourite and desperately unlucky in the Hong Kong sprint in December when he just got bottled up in the inside and Wellington took full advantage. But he's taken his revenge on Wellington a couple of times since. And let's have a look at what Lucky Swayness is about, Andrew. And what he's about is pretty uncomplicated, really. He can lead, but he's more of a stalker nowadays. And we're going to look at two races. Race 358 in the Hong Kong calendar was the Centenary Sprint Cup, a really decisive success. He beats Wellington fair and square. Sight Success was third that day. He's a high-quality sprinter who ran very well in Dubai recently. Courier Wonder was a good fourth, but with no excuses. And have a look at Lucky Swayness in the closing stages. Pretty soft win, decisive win. That was a personal best at the time, and I think you could argue that he hit another new level last time out. We move on to race 508. That was the Queen Silver Jubilee Cup over 1,400 metres. He was up against a cracking horse that day, Andrew. You know all about California Spangle. California Spangle never gives it up easily. He didn't here, but he had to in the end because Lucky Swayness went past and won very, very convincingly. In behind were Courier Wonder again. White Cuckoo was in again. Zach Purton chose California Spangle that weekend. James McDonald took full advantage, but it doesn't really matter who's on board Lucky Swayness. He is Hong Kong's budding champion sprinter, and he is very, very much the one to beat here. International ratings make him 123. Wellington is 121, but he hasn't hit that level recently. Courier Wonder is 114, and Cordyceps 6, Wellington stablemate, is 110. He's back in trip here. He should run okay, but it is a race that revolves around Lucky Swayness. If he's on his game, Andrew, he should be extremely difficult to beat.
And obviously, Lucky Swayness, also Wellington, both Group 1 winners now carrying that extra £5 here. Do you see that making any sort of a difference on ratings? It really shouldn't.
No, not really. He's been meeting Wellington on level terms for a while now. Giving the £5 to Courier Wonder gives him a chance. And I think Courier Wonder is the type of horse who you should keep strongly in mind for Quinella slips here. He was the next big thing at one point, and he's never quite lived up to that early promise. But he is in really good nick at the moment. And getting the £5, he might be the one to snag second place just ahead of Wellington. But at the bottom, Master Rate, Rewarding Together, WizKid. They don't need a miracle, but they need major improvement to have any chance of beating the likes of Lucky Swayness. So he looks the one here. Lucky Swayness on top with perhaps Courier Wonder in. a fascinating Sprint Cup. And just to broaden it out a little bit, you'll remember back in, I think it was 2012, a horse called Little Bridge won this race for Danny Shum. He came to Royal Ascot, massive hit and run raid for Danny and Zach Purton, won the King's Stand Stakes. It's very early days, and I don't think you can take this to the bank yet, but there are a few whispers around Hong Kong at the moment that Lucky Sweynesse and maybe Wellington could be contenders for the Diamond Jubilee Stakes at Royal Ascot this year.
Now, that would be something to see. I know Manfred Mann travelled Eagle Regiment when he had Eagle Regiment a few years ago. Took him to Dubai a number of times, but hasn't gone to the UK. It'd be great to see him there with Lucky Sweynesse. And this race has served as a springboard to international success. The year after Little Bridge, it was Rich Tapestry winning. He became Hong Kong's first dirt Group 1 winner over in the United States, winning the Santa Anita Sprint Championship. So we've definitely seen horses springboard off this. It'd be great to see that happen again in 2023.
Andrew, just to check, Andrew, is Zach Purton certainly penciled in for Artorias in the Diamond Jubilee Stakes? Isn't he the Aussie horse?
He is tentatively penciled in, but imagine if he has to make that decision between Artorias and also Lucky Sweynesse. That's a decision there that I don't think he'd be wanting to make. The thing is there's a number of Australian horses heading over, so even a jockey like James McDonald, who obviously rode Lucky Sweynesse last time, every chance he'll be taken up as well. So it could be an opportunity for another jockey there with Lucky Sweynesse should he make the trip.
A great story for Manfred Mann, who's been a hugely popular, not journeyman, but a veteran of the Hong Kong scene. For him to get a top quality horse in the autumn of his career is a tremendous Hong Kong story.
That it certainly is. We move on to the second of the Group 2s. This is the Chairman's Trophy, 1,600 metres, or the mile here. And again, a very good honour roll here. Horses like Good Barber, Able Friend won it twice. Rapid Dragon, the final win of his career. Beauty Generation winning it twice. And Golden 60 getting his only win in this race last year. He's not running this time around, looking like he's probably heading to the QE2 Cup in 3 weeks' time, to the 2,000 metres, ahead of a potential run over the 2,400 metres for the first time in the Champions and Chater Cup, where he might take on Charlie Appleby's Yabir, which would be a fascinating contest there. But the Chairman's Trophy on Sunday, California Spangle, the Hong Kong Mile winner. We've just talked about him with Lucky Sweynesse, and he's going back to the mile here. Looks well suited, but does have to concede £5 to the likes of Waikuku, Tourbillon Diamond, Beauty Joy. He's the class, but there is that £5 here, which is probably more of a key here in this race than in the Sprint Cup, Graham.
Agree completely. It should make it a little closer. It opens the door for one or two of these horses, but I still think California Spangle is ready for a job like this. He's just such an easy horse to like. Not many horses have ever beaten Golden 60 over a mile at Sha Tin. California Spangle has. He did that in December in the Longines Hong Kong Mile, and he's super uncomplicated. He's one of the fastest starters I've ever seen in terms of a miler or a horse who can go 2,000 metres. He's so naturally quick from the gate that he gives himself every chance to dictate the tempo that his rider wants, Zach Purton, and he's got a great record. He beat Golden 60 in the Hong Kong Mile. He was a pretty close third to Golden 60 and Romantic Warrior in the Stewards Cup over a mile. Then he was a very good second to Lucky Sweynesse in that Queen's Silver Jubilee Cup. We can see that race again. No excuses, but well clear of Wellington, well clear of Courier Wonder, good quality horses, and he sets the bar, and he sets it pretty high here. From a ratings point of view, Andrew, California Spangle has an international mark of 123. He gives £5 to Waikuku, whose international rating is 118. But a bit like me, that rating has a few grey hairs now. And I don't think Waikuku is really ready to run to that sort of mark. Tourbillon Diamond is next in 116. That 116 is based on middle distance performances. But then we come to Beauty Joy on 115, stablemate of California Spangle. And somewhat mercurial, hasn't won this season, but he's the type of horse, I think, who could, getting the £5, I think he could narrow the gap on California Spangle. We can have a look at Beauty Joy in a good handicap last time. Beluga was the winner, but Beauty Joy came on pretty strongly late on. I think he's a bit less kinky than he used to be. He used to pull very hard. He used to drop the bridle in the middle of races. He's 0 from 7 this season, but this was a very good performance. Tony Cruz seems quietly confident that he's got this horse, Beauty Joy, in a really good spot at the moment. And if there's a horse to give Spangle a race here, he might be the one. Further down the card, we've got a few horses who've got very difficult chances at the weights. Money Catcher, Running Glory, Columbus County, Healthy Happy. Money Catcher is a natural front runner, but I don't think he has the speed to best California Spangle early on. So my idea of the finish here is California Spangle to make all, and perhaps his stablemate getting the £5 Beauty Joy to come out of the pack and fill the Q spot.
Just looking at a horse like Running Glory, who's quite a small horse. He's under £1,000, but he's a horse that has been carrying big weights in a lot of these handicaps. Do you think coming back to set weights might be a help, or it might assist him to potentially fulfil the potential that we've seen from him this season?
It could be, but look at those ratings, Andrew. His best, and he's been running to his best recently, is a 107. So he has to come on £7-8. Beauty Joy is highly likely to run to that mark of 115, which gives him the edge over most of these. So tactically, straightforward. California Spangle to lead Money Catcher. They won't go too hard here. Purton, highly likely to be aboard California Spangle, highly likely to get his own way in front. And I think we might see a slightly better California Spangle on Sunday than we did last time, because do remember, he'd been busy in very deep races for a while before his last run. He's had something of a break. He should be bouncing again now. And he's going to be, I would imagine, round about the 1.5 mark. And I think full value for a short price like that.
With Beauty Joy, just thinking back to the Hong Kong Mile, where Beauty Joy whipped up around California Spangle, in some quarters it was suggested he made the race for California Spangle because he really drew that sprint out of Golden 60. How do you see that playing out on Sunday?
Yeah, I'm thinking back to that December race, and I can remember Zach Purton looking over his left shoulder at Huey Bowman on Beauty Joy. I think, what the hell are you doing? I don't think that was part of the game plan, but I think it was just a case of Huey trying to do something different on a somewhat quirky horse. But he has looked more relaxed on his last couple of runs. So he's the type of horse who could run well at a price. But as with the big sprint, Lucky Sweynesse sets the bar very high in that race, and the Spangle sets it just as high in this one.
That's the Chairman's Trophy. It could be California Spangle adding another big race win to his resume, his flourishing resume, which just continues to grow season upon season. We move on to the first of the restricted races, the Class 2 handicap coming up over the 1,400 metres. Now, this race here does look a competitive sort of handicap, which, let's be frank, most of these handicaps in Hong Kong are competitive to a large degree. We've got a couple of last start winners in here, the likes of Circuit Stella, also Red Lion, and we've got a very interesting Hong Kong debutant by the name of Flaming Rabbit, formerly a Peter Schergen trained horse in Germany, who, from memory, won at Goodwood going back to July last year.
Yeah, this is a good race, and it revolves around maybe 2 or 3 key galloping clues that we're going to be able to take a look at. More on Flaming Rabbit in a few moments, but let's have a look first at Circuit Stella, Fantastic Treasure, and the Golden Scenery. And they were in action here a few weeks ago, and Circuit Stella was tremendous on this day. I was thinking, looking at the video, thinking, are you California Spangle in disguise? Because he just got out in the front. I don't think he was pressured early on, Andrew, and that could be important as regards this weekend's contest. But he bounded away in the closing stages. Fantastic Treasure, if you watch him coming on for second, I thought he ran really well because he found himself in a pretty ordinary tactical position out back in a fairly steadily run race. And he did well to stay on strongly for second late on. The Golden Scenery, as he does, keeps plugging on to pick up a minor check. Unusual horse, Circuit Stella, Andrew. He had 10 runs for Joseph O'Brien when he was known as Magnanimous, but it looks like he's still on the upgrade, but he's up £7 this weekend. He meets Fantastic Treasure on £7 worse terms, and I suspect that Circuit Stella may get a little more heat on the front end this time. So of that trio, they all have chances, and Circuit Stella's the obvious favourite here. But don't sleep on Fantastic Treasure. If he gets a better pace to run at with the £7 pull, I give him a sporting chance of reversing that form with Circuit Stella. But there are definitely others to consider here. Race 506 on the Jockey Club calendar features a very, very promising young horse called Packing Treadmill. Only a 4-year-old, 6 from 10. He's already come up against Fantastic Treasure, pipped him in a great finish over Christmas. But the race we're going to look at last time was back to 1,200 meters. Slightly unusual move. He ran really well, but he also ran into a buzzsaw in the shape of Victor, the winner, who's improving fast at the moment. Victor was too progressive, too strong, but Packing Treadmill ran really well. Back to a mile. It's ideal for him. And I think he's a danger to all. Last but not least, race 491. Going to look at, I think this is another British recruit, Red Lion. 7th-time lucky over 1,400 meters at Sha Tin last time. He got a really good ride from Zach Purton because he ran the risk of being a bit too fiery early on. But Zach got him settled. He did the job quite nicely. He's up in the weights, and this looks a deeper race. Now, I'll throw the ball back to you, Mr. Hawkins. You tell us all we need to know about this intriguing newcomer at the bottom of the weights for Douglas White called Flaming Rabbit.
Flaming Rabbit, what a name. Yes, I was lucky enough to spend some time in Douglas's stables a few weeks ago, just before the Derby. We were chatting about Russian Emperor in Dubai, but got to see Flaming Rabbit there. Now, there'd been a lot of conjecture about whether he was going to step out in the Derby first up, and I think if it had been most other trainers in Hong Kong, he probably would have ended up there first up. But Douglas, being the horseman that he is, made that decision to hold off. He knows that the horse wasn't quite ready for it. Look, it takes some time to adjust and to acclimatise to Hong Kong conditions, especially in terms of morning track work, trying to be able to handle the firmer surfaces they strike in the mornings. And so Flaming Rabbit, quirky horse, has a lot of character. But a horse that I think you'll see the best of once he gets up to middle distances next season. But look, a horse that, as I say, came out of Germany. It comes with a bit of a rap about him. I know Peter Shirgan rated him very highly, and we saw him win over the mile that Group 3 at Goodwood last start midfield in the Prix de Milan, behind horses of the ilk of Dreamloper, Order of Australia, sort of those very middle of the road type journeyman Group 1 horses. But he's a horse that I think we're going to see a lot of, second in the German 2,000 guineas. Look, it'll be interesting to see what he does on Sunday, but I think he's the type of horse we're going to see plenty of in the seasons ahead, just not on Sunday.
Yeah, 83 is a very difficult mark to win from on your Hong Kong debut. So just to wrap up this fiery Class 2, pace is going to be important. If they leave Circuit Stella alone in front, he could burn them. But I think there might be a bit more pressure on the front end this time. So I'm going to take 2 against the likely favourite here. And the 2 in question are the old foes. There was very little between Packing Treadmill and Fantastic Treasure when they met over Christmas. Don't think there'll be much between them again. But they're my 2 in this Class 2, Packing Treadmill and Fantastic Treasure.
Packing Treadmill and Fantastic Treasure there in that Class 2 over the 1,400 metres. We move on to a fascinating Class 3 coming up over the straight 5 furlongs, the 1,000 metres. And it might be just a case of the obvious here. We've already talked about Lucky Sweynesse for Manfred Mann, but this horse of his, he's got absolutely flying We Are Hero. Quite amazing that often you talk about needing those outside barriers to be able to find the rail easily down the straight. Well, he drew 13 and quite a bit went wrong for him back on New Year's Day, finished 4th. Draws gate 1 last time out, near the back, charges home, wins by 3 to complete a run of 3 of his last 4. I mean, what's going to stop him here, Graham?
Not much is the short answer. As you know, they have an award for most improved horse at the end of the season in Hong Kong. This fella's on the right track. There are other candidates for that, but he's already gone from a mark of 54 to 85. He should be bidding for 5 on the run here. Sylvester de Souza found all the trouble that was going a few starts ago, lost the ride. Bowman, who's back in town this weekend after a couple of weeks back in Sydney, gets on really well with this horse, and he just looks a powerhouse sprinter. If you have a look at his last performance. As you said, he was drawn out wide, not generally ideal at Sha Tin. He shrugged it off with a real swagger. He powered through the field. He went 20.9 through the middle section, which is trapping, and finished off with a 22.1, bounding clear from good quality horses, winning with bundles in hand. Handicappers taking another swing, put him up another £10. I still make him a really well handicapped horse, and he's powered through a Happy Valley trial since, when he was, I think, second to the Flaming Rabbit at the Valley. So that'll just put the polish on him for this. And it's a fairly mixed bag of horses here. Quite a few down the bottom are either at the wrong trip, unproven, or out of form. So when you have a look at that We Are Hero video last time, it knocks your eye out. He is one of the most progressive sprint handicappers around. And he's not Lucky Swain-esque yet, and probably never will be his stablemate. But he is doing really, really well at the moment, We Are Hero. And I think he's bound to take plenty of beating. Let's have a look at a couple of others. British European racing fans will be very, very familiar with a horse called Atomic Force, who was very precocious, flashy chestnut for Kevin Ryan a couple of years ago when he won the Group 2 Prix Robert Papin in France. It took him a while to click. That's the norm in Hong Kong. It's not easy to make a swift impact. But he clicked at I think it was the 8th time of asking last time, 24-1 at Happy Valley when he powered through late under Harry Bentley. That was a race that suited the hold-up horses. He's up in the weights by £5, and he's across to Sha Tin. Could he run well? Maybe. But I don't think he's anything like as progressive overall as We Are Hero. One more to look at, and it's an old favourite. A couple of old favourites, actually. Race 528, Metro Warrior. He's an uncomplicated, speedy horse who wins in his turn. He's 3 from 38. He showed all his usual speed last time in a strong race, dominated by Flying High and Cheval Valiant. Keep an eye in 6th place. Staying on well, Run Cool. Not much between these two. They both have Quinella trio chances. I think Run Cool might have Quinella potential here, but the one to beat, and clearly the one to beat, is the mightily progressive We Are Hero, who's been heroic several times already down the straightaway at Sha Tin, and he will be a tight price, and I think he'll win.
What a potential double there for Manfred Mann. That would be quite something to have both his incredibly promising horse here in We Are Hero to go along with his superstar in Lucky Swain-esque, or at least emerging superstar potentially. I don't think it might be too early to call him a superstar, but he's heading in the right direction. And this horse, as you say, heading in the right direction to be, not just most improved horse, but look, if he performs here, well, he's already in Class 2 territory, isn't he? Because he's on that rating of 85. He's found an extended band Class 3 here, but look, Class 2 looks to hold no real qualms for this horse.
No, it's a biggish field, but I think we can boil this down to 3 or 4 horses very quickly. And if I've read the signals right, Huey Bowman will be up in the stirrups again in the last 50 yards, because this horse doesn't just win snugly. He doesn't stop when he hits the front. He puts length on them.
That he does. And let's hope we see a big performance from We Are Hero. Hopefully a heroic performance. I'm sure the headline writers there at the South China Morning Post will already be ready to come up with something quirky or witty there. So, Graham, we've had a look at those 4 races. It is a packed card, as is generally the case with these meetings. As I say, we don't have declarations yet, but we've got, and we get the first of the Griffins as well. So we've got a mixed bag coming up. For those that don't know, Griffins are horses that are either the unraced 3-year-olds if they're by European time, unraced 2-year-olds if they're by Southern Hemisphere time. Look, it's been a while since we've probably seen a really good Griffin come through, but you never know. There might be one to unveil here. Looking at the rest of the card, Graham, was there anything that caught your eye, or otherwise, is it just a case of playing the obvious and sticking within those boundaries of logic? Yeah,
I think the 4 big races are the ones to focus on here, and I'd like to generally try to swim against the tide from a punting point of view, but this Sunday I don't think it's going to pay to do that. I think the obvious horses are the obvious winners. So if we have a look at the Sprint Cup, Group 2, Lucky Swain-esque, I reckon will be around about 1.3, 1.4 tops. I think he'll win, and I think Courier Wonder and Wellington are the possible dangers. The Chairman's Trophy, California Spangle will maybe be 1.5, 1.6. I think he's going to make all. I think he's going to be very hard to beat, and I think his stablemate, Beauty Joy, might be the Quinella option. Spangle and Beauty Joy in the Chairman's Trophy. Very good Class 2 handicap. Circuit Stella's going to be the name on thousands and thousands of betting tickets. He won't be on mine. I think he might get a little more pace pressure this time, which brings in his old rival, Fantastic Treasure, and a very progressive 4-year-old Packing Treadmill. So I'll take 2 against the field in the Class 2, Packing Treadmill and Fantastic Treasure, close finish. And the Sprint Handicap, it's not a no-brainer, but it's not far off. This We Are Hero is improving leaps and bounds with every single run. The handicapper has been struggling to get a hold on him for months now. He's tried to give him a 10-pound hike here. It might be enough to check his progress slightly, but not enough to stop him winning. We Are Hero is the one to beat here, and perhaps the ones to chase him home, Run Cool, and maybe the other fella, Metro Warrior, who's pretty speedy. But We Are Hero, an exciting sprinter on an exciting day at Sha Tin. A couple of Group 2 races, building into Champions Day, FWD Champions Day at Sha Tin. 3 weeks on Sunday, the 30th of April. And I'm glad to say, Andrew, that I will be on the grounds. Will you?
I will be on the ground. We will be reuniting there. Looking forward to it greatly. It's only a couple of weeks now till we fly in.
Didn't you have a setback in December? Were you poorly last time you went to Hong Kong?
No, I was okay last time I was in Hong Kong. I have had a trip since where I've ended up isolated in a hotel room, unfortunately. Right. But no, thankfully Hong Kong in December we were okay. But we were running around a lot, and hopefully
I'll be able to say hello to you without a mask as well.
Well, that's the thing. Having been in Hong Kong 3 weeks ago for the Derby, it was amazing just how much the city had come to life since that mask mandate had gone. It's really become the city that I think both you and I adored and loved while we were living there. And I'm very, very excited to have the international media back there. I think they'll notice a change from December. And look, I think given that I tend to agree with everything you've said here, which again I like to go against the tide, and generally I'll take you on where I can, Graham. But I think you're right on song on Sunday. I think that there'll be plenty of people in the same boat, and I think that you'll hear the cheers for miles and miles around, because I think they'll really enjoy being able to build a bank that they can then hopefully parlay into FWD Champions Day.
That is the plan, and let's hope it comes together. So thanks, Andrew. It's been fun to catch up. I'll see you in Hong Kong in 3 weeks. In the meantime, good luck to everyone at Sha Tin on a big Sunday.
Absolutely, and looking forward to catching up. Looking forward to being able to have a few bets on Sunday, and as you say, build up towards FWD Champions Day. Thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully you do manage to find a winner or two on Sunday. And a reminder, if you are having a bet on Hong Kong racing, remember to gamble responsibly.